Welcome everyone. Today we are going to study literature in English, specifically about poetry. As you know, we have three genres of literature. We have prose, we have drama, and we have poetry. So within poetry, today we are going to study about poetic devices. But before, let us define what is literature. Literature broadly is any collection of written or oral works, but it is also used more narrowed for writing specifically considered to be an art form, especially for prose fiction, drama, and poetry. So we are going to talk about poetic devices. We are going to talk on about 5. Number 1 is repetition, 2 personification, 3 simile, 4 assonance, and number 5 alliteration. So let us go to repetition. Repetition is a poetic device that is used in poems. A poet may choose to use repetition as a poetic device in his or her poem. Now, what is repetition? Repetition is a poetic device that is commonly used in poems, and it refers to the deliberate use of a word or a group of words over and over again or recurrently in a poem. So a poet here, when choose to use repetition in a poem, he uses a word or a group of words many times. So here we have an example of a poem. It is called Freedom Song. It is written by Marjorie. I'm going to read only one first stanza, then you will pay attention and identify where there is repetition. I'm going to start. Atieno washes dishes. Atieno plucks the kitchen. Atieno gets up early, beds her sacks down in the kitchen. Atieno 8 years old. Atieno yo. Now, have you identified any repetition here? I think yes. You can understand that there is the repetition of a word atieno. Atieno, atieno, atieno. So from this first stanza, this is where you can get repetition as the use of a poetic device within this poem. Another poetic device is personification. Now, what is personification as a poetic device? Now, personification is a poetic device in which a thing, an idea, or an animal is given human attributes. So within a poem, a poet chooses to use personification by using an animal, an object, or an idea and give those things human abilities, attributes human abilities to the animal, attributes human abilities to an object. Now, you can understand that here, a poet may choose to use all those poetic devices so as to convey a message, but in a way that will not cause any problem. Here, they continue saying that the non-human objects are portrayed in such a way that we feel they have the ability to act like human beings. Another poetic device here is simile, and by definition, a simile is a poetic device that makes comparison by using the comparative words that are like or as. Like or as. Those are comparative words that are used when a poet chooses to use simile in a poem. So for example, here we have a poem called My Husband's Tongue. Now, we are going to read some verses where we find simile as a poetic device. For example, here, my husband's tongue. My husband's tongue is bitter like the roots of the iron lily. So here there is, my husband's tongue is bitter like the roots like. So here, like the roots, this is the use of simile as a poetic device within this poem. Okay, another is assonance. Assonance, by definition, it is the repetition of vowel sounds within words of a line. So this repetition creates rhythm as they have used assonance. Here the poet uses assonance in a poem as the repetition of vowel sounds. These are not vowel letters or vowel words, no, they are vowel sounds. You only consider sounds here. So let us have an example here of a poem and see how we can have assonance within a poem. For example, here there is an example. Fleet feet sweep them, looting hoofs of blooming, blood of blooming, footing grooming, feet, fleet feet sweep, fleet feet. So you understand there is e. Looting, there is u. Those are vowel sounds. So fleet feet sweep, footing, grooming. You understand that here we have assonance within this poem. Another is alliteration. This is a poetic device and it refers to the repetition of initial sounds. Initial means the beginning sounds. The beginning sounds. Within a poem, you identify this poetic device, which is alliteration, by considering the beginning sounds within a poem. So let us look at this example. We have here an example of a poem where we can find alliteration. Let me read, pay attention and see where you can identify alliteration. Plain plan pronounced. Plain plan pronounced. Sincere since seventh Sabbath. Sincere since seventh Sabbath. You understand here there is C. Plan, plain, plan. P. Plain, plan, pronounced. P. Sweet smell success. C. Bigger, better. Bigger and better. Bigger, better. B. So you understand here there are initial sounds that are repeated within this poem. So that is also another example of a poetic device, which is alliteration. So this is the end of today's session about poetic devices. We have talked about repetition, we have talked about personification, we have talked about simile, we have talked about assonance and alliteration. Thank you very much. See you next time.